Well, good morning and welcome to Over the Vast Nurseries. If you haven't been to see some of our videos before, this is our testing and trialing area here on a very busy nursery that supplies plants right throughout our region, that's the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states of the US, to partnering garden centres. There's hundreds of them located right throughout our region. And when you visit those garden centres, you're likely to come across some of these plants, and this is a representative selection from the first edition's range of plants that's been developed by Bailey's Nurseries in Minnesota. And as you see, there's a very nice selection of flowering shrubs, some foliage plants, some really pretty Panicle hydrangeas, some trees, some shrubs. In essence, lots of really good plants that I hope you'll be able to find a place for somewhere around your home. And as nice as all of these are, there's one plant that I want to tell you about that's a recent addition to the range. And it's over here in our testing and trialing area. It's Hydrangea Little Hottie, and boy, is it a beautiful little plant. And when you visit some of our partnering garden centres, and there's hundreds of them located right throughout our region, you're likely to find some plants like these, ones that are bushy and compact, well-shaped, healthy, vigorous plants ready to settle into your garden and get off to a very good start and make an instant impact because they're loaded with lots of really gorgeous flowers. I think, as you see, they're really rather special. I just love how these beaming white flowers show up so beautifully against the dark green foliage. And the fresh, pristine white color brings a lovely kind of refreshing look to our garden, as well as cooling it down during the hotter summer months. And as you pan down through the bed here and look at all of these plants, you'll get some idea of the floriferousness of this variety too. It really is very free flowering. There's almost a flower on every stem, and these are only little young plants. Imagine what this will grow like when it gets to its final size, which is only about 3 to 5 foot high by about the same wide. You can see what an important impact this plant can make in your garden. And you can also see what a terrific impact you would get if you have the space and you're able to plant these in mass. It really is a terrific plant that puts on a wonderful show. Like a lot of the others, the flowers are really remarkable in that they stand up very well to sunlight and to the heat of the summer and give a very long display. If you want to find out more about how to grow hydrangeas, I'd suggest that you take a moment or two and scroll through some of the other videos that we have here on this channel, and you'll find out more about the planting, the growing instructions, and also how you can prune them too. It's really very easy. They're very hardy plants, very reliable, and I'm sure that when you get this into your garden, you're just going to love it because they're simple, easy, reliable, and very easy to grow. And looking at the butterflies, it's not just even human beings that like these. There's some of the pollinating insects and butterflies, etc., that love them too. Now, like quite a few other Panicle hydrangeas, you'll see that when the flowers come out first, they have this soft, I suppose you would call it chartreuse green color. And then as the little sterile florets here on the outside of each of these panicles, which we call these triangular pyramidal shaped flowers, you'll see that as they emerge, they start to take on a creamy color. And then as they expand further, you'll see that that's when they really take on this impressive, bright, gleaming white color. Remarkable really how they come out in the middle of the summer and provide all of this beautiful refreshing color. Now, it's not an exaggeration to tell you, as you'll see by the pictures on the tags here, that once this plant gets established and is growing in your garden, it will have so many flowers that you're going to find it hard to actually find green leaves showing. It carries so many flowers all over the extremities of the plant, it literally makes a mound of bright white gleaming flowers. And in today's world, where our gardening spaces seem to be getting smaller all the time, having compact, very free flowering varieties like this are all the more important. And that's also something that's very valuable if you don't actually have a garden. If you want to just grow something in a container, in a pot, and put it on a deck or a balcony or somewhere where you're going to be able to enjoy it during the summertime, well, guess what? It makes an absolutely gorgeous plant to put into a container too. Raised by Dr. Michael Durr and his team at Plant Introductions Inc. and introduced by Bailey's Nurseries under their First Editions brand, it's a great little plant that merits consideration in gardens of all sizes. Now, as I was pulling out some of the plants and taking a look at them, you may have noticed that we have some plants like this one, and then this one here, that are in full flower with lots of buds coming on, and these plants are at their peak and are ready to go out to the garden centre this week. But in between them, you'll see the alternate plants are still green and not flowering yet. We have this as a technique that we call cycle pruning. The idea is that over the growing season, we're able to offer plants through the garden centres that are in flower when you come to visit. So if you were to go to the garden centre this week, you're likely to see plants like this one. But then, if you say visit in a couple of weeks' time, you're likely to see this plant, but of course, at that stage, it will look like some of these, because by then, it will have grown out, set flower bud, and started to flower. We call this cycle pruning, and the idea, of course, is to try and have plants that are looking at their peak really beautiful, so that when you go along to visit and select your plants, you're able to see them in all of their beautiful glory. And that's why I think it's important to go in and visit the garden centres regularly throughout the whole of the gardening year. Not just on a beautiful spring day when the gardening fever hits, but rather stop in at least every 2 or 3 weeks and walk around and see, because with a technique like this, you can see that the selection is regularly changing. This is David Wilson for Overdevest Nurseries. Enjoy your gardening. It's good for us, and it's very good for our environment too.